poker. Specifically, Texas Hold'em. It's a game you've played before, and if you haven't, go watch this guy's video. It's a card game. Have you ever been sitting around the poker table with your buddies and thinking, man, this is boring as hell? All they're talking about is their kids and their mortgages. But imagine if instead, they were video game characters, talking about cool stuff. That's Poker Night at the Inventory.
Say there, Boris, are you married?
Look, Grandma, stop asking me that already.
You're so cute when you're mad.
These cards are atrocious. Nay, scandalous.
What you're looking at right now is a poker game, specifically Telltale Texas Hold'em, the first game ever released by the now infamous studio Telltale Games. Telltale Games was a company made of ex-LucasArts employees who weren't comfortable when LucasArts shifted from adventure games to more branded games. Telltale is more famous for the type of adventure games that LucasArts stopped making, but after they formed their company in July of 2004, they released their first game in February of 2005, Telltale Texas Hold'em.
Give it to me.
Telltale Texas Hold'em is very basic. It's more of a proof of concept. It's an imaginary poker tournament where you play against AIs as
A mysterious stranger known only as the player.
Telltale Texas Hold'em was released with the hook of poker with personality. This was because the game was built as a demo for their game engine, Telltale Tool, where the NPCs acted on their own dynamic AI, making actual interactions between characters and specific playstyles for each of the NPCs. Each character in Telltale Texas Hold'em had specific and drastic personalities from each other.
I'll check. Here, I'll make you an offer you can't refuse.
Shortly following the release of Telltale Texas Hold'em, Telltale CEO Dan Connors interviewed with Adventure Gamers, saying that
Telltale Games is about great characters and stories. Telltale Texas Hold'em is about characters. The reason this is the first product released by Telltale Games is because it is much more straightforward than launching a full adventure game based on a license. All the work we are doing on characters now will definitely benefit the quality of our adventure games. The Telltale engine and toolset will be used to build all of our products. It is focused on elements required for 3D storytelling and character presentation. The reason why we chose Texas Hold'em as a game mechanic is that poker is all about nuances in the players. Everything we have done with the engine for Telltale Texas Hold'em will be iterated in our future games.
the game wasn't intended to be Telltale's first game, because it was never intended to be released, but when development was finished, the developers liked it enough to put it up for sale. All they had to do was slap some music in it, that being the music of Jerry Logas and the Reunion Band, who are actually really good at jazz. Telltale Texas Hold'em is okay. It's basically just poker, but it's an interesting proof of concept, and you really can't beat the modern price. Nice. In May of 2009, Telltale put out a poker-themed survey, incentivizing people by giving a free copy of Telltale Texas Hold'em to the people who filled it out. Most of the questionnaire was just abstract questions. Questions like whether people wanted a game which involved unprofessional poker or dogs playing poker. People saw this as a disconnected announcement for Telltale Texas Hold'em 2. But work wouldn't actually start until September of 2010, the sequel being Poker Night at the Inventory.
What was that, Tiny Chips? You all want to fight with me? This is best idea.
Haul him, raise him, tear his kneecaps out. Not in that order.
Nothing intimidates your opponents like a heavy dose of Think Hard.
Poker Night at the Inventory is kind of as simple as Telltale Texas Hold'em. Both are just card games with characters, but Poker Night does add some lore. The secret club the player visits, called The Inventory, was built in 1919 as a response to an early draft of the 18th Amendment.
You know, this place has been around for almost 100 years.
Wow, that's older than some frozen burritos I've sucked down.
This was the original location of Dixon Kent's Games and Amusements Factory, founded in 1899. When Kent found out that an early draft of the 18th Amendment contained a clause outlawing the sale of games and amusements, he opened this place in secret so makers and enthusiasts would always have a place to go. Hence the tight security and pat-down at the door.
I just thought they were being courteous.
Creating the inventory and making its own backstory as the game's setting was really a genius way to make sure that none of the characters overrepresented and dominate the table. Letting the characters have actual banter in a natural lighting.
You're as green as the bologna in Sam's mini fridge.
Shut up, Stitch!
Poker Night was a nice change of pace for Telltale. Considering every game, bar Telltale Texas Hold'em, was an episodic adventure game, Poker Night: The Inventory was developed under the Telltale pilot program. Games like Puzzle Agent and The Walking Dead were also part of this pilot program. But making another game that was actually just poker was actually an idea that came straight from Dan Connors, the CEO.
We had the idea for some time of exploring what characters do when they're not on the clock in the games we play. We pitched the idea to friends in the industry and it really resonated. We all had a great time imagining what these guys would banter about while slinging cards. From there, Poker Night: The Inventory was born.
After Connors' pitch, Telltale got the green lights from Steve Purcell, the Brothers Chaps, Valve, and the Penny Arcade creators to put their IPs in the game.
Yeah.
Telltale was surprisingly cautious about the way they wrote dialogue for these characters, mainly considering that they've never written dialogue for the Heavy or Tycho. And the thing that made this game so great was the way these characters were written, how they interacted, how they all play. So let's talk about those characters.
Max has 2 pair. The player has a pair of 7s. Max wins the hand.
I'm gonna buy me a scepter, and I can't promise I won't wave it around in front of you, forever reminding you of this moment.
The first character to your left is Max, voiced by William Katzen from the Sam and Max franchise. Originally created by Steve Purcell's brother, Dave, Sam and Max were 2 characters that Dave would draw in short comics. And Steve, as the typical mean
older brother, I'd take his comics and I would, if he hadn't finished the story, I'd finish it out in a parody of his style. And so I'd have the characters kind of over-explaining everything they did, and they would kind of make fun of the way they were drawn, and I would draw their hand, with the thumb on the wrong side and the perspective wrong, and everything I could think of to make him irritated. And ultimately that kind of developed into their own style of relating to each other, and he lost interest in the characters, and one year for my birthday he gave me a little document that said I could have the characters from that point on.
After the characters were fully hised, he used them in the comic strips he drew for his college newspaper, then applied for an open job at LucasArts, where the characters grew within the company.
They had asked me if I was interested in doing a strip for the Adventurer, and the only way I was interested enough to be excited about it was if I could do my own characters, and so I kind of put out the idea of doing Sam and Max. And that was a lot of fun because I got to kind of parody whatever game was coming out. But what was going on with Sam and Max is that people within the company sort of knew them already from the comics, and they sort of were like unofficial mascots in the game company.
They eventually got popular enough to make a game out of, Sam and Max Hit the Road, which was an immediate success. Everyone loved it, and it's still acclaimed as one of the best adventure games of the 90s. But after LucasArts canceled its newly announced sequel, Sam and Max Freelance Police, the massive public outcry led Purcell to go to Telltale, who eventually worked out a deal and eventually made the game Sam and Max Save the World.
It's like a dream!
The kind where you wake up screaming with a gun in your hand, your pillow torn to shreds, and the upstairs neighbors calling 911.
The best kind!
With Sam and Max Save the World being out for 3 years during the development of Poker Night, Max seemed like a pretty good addition as the wild card to the table, especially considering that Telltale had written for him before. At the table, his playstyle is very sporadic. He constantly reminds you of the fact that he doesn't know how to play poker.
I don't know a lot about card games, truth be told, but I take it you're a bit of a beginner, yes?
Are you talking to Moy?
You betcha!
Considering his lack of knowledge of the rules, he's most likely to go all in with complete disregard for both his and the player's hand. He's also the most likely character to bluff at the table. His banter mostly includes references to the Sam and Max lore and just generally not being able to shut up. But despite that, the other characters get along with him. Max and Strongbad even talk about their exploitation of Telltale.
I dabble in nefarious activities. Like the time I stole the Strongbad's cool game for attractive people's source code from those Telltale chumps.
Ooh, that sounds criminal.
Oh yeah, I pulled it off without a hitch. Got the code over to my boys at VidElectrics, who turned the game into a triple platinum, triple pixel bestseller in Guam.
Sat next to Max is Strongbad, voiced by Matt Chapman from the Homestar Runner web series.
Oh, hello. Welcome to HomestarRunner.net.
It's .com.
Oh, right. HomestarRunner.net. It's .com.
Created by Matt Chapman and Mike Chapman, or the Brothers Chaps, Homestar Runner was an animated web series that started in the early 2000s. It's kind of like a Flash animated sitcom, and they eventually made a music video for They Might Be Giants.
The color
Telltale was looking for more collaborations, and after seeing Homestar Runner, apparently just emailed the address on the site, and after a shared PAX Make-A-Scene spot, released Strong Bad's Cool Game for Attractive People later that year.
What's that? A futuristic candy ball?
Almost. Check it out.
Ooh, what game is that? The candy ball game?
It's Strong Bad's Cool Game for Attractive People. But you can play too.
At the table, Strong Bad is probably the worst player there. If he's not the first person to leave the table, he probably just got some lucky cards. He's not the most aggressive player there, but he almost always plays, even on horrid hands if he can afford it. Most of his banner at the table are fourth wall breaks, openly trashing on Telltale and the Penny Arcade Expo.
Hey, Nerd Rancher, how many hits does your little fan site for babies that I hate get a month?
What I do find really funny is that Strong Bad is the only character who is physically unable to swear. In the game, there is an option to beep out profanity, mostly Tycho's profanity, but even if this is off, Strong Bad still gets bleeped.
That is some up, man.
The Heavy is probably Strong Bad's best relationship at the table, because Heavy thinks Strong Bad is a boxer with his gloved hands, and he even fondly refers to Strong Bad as Tiny Heavy.
Tiny Heavy, who is your favorite to kill in war?
In war? Probably those green helmets. You know, the guys that don't have any cool weapons or gimmicks and come in a discount 3-pack.
To kill spy is glorious thing. How about you, Max? You are a killing type.
My favorite enemy? That's like asking me to choose between my children.
You crack me up, little bunny.
The Heavy, voiced by Gary Schwartz, is from TF2, and is probably the most recognizable character at the table. With TF2 coming out 3 years before Poker Night, the Heavy is technically the youngest IP at the table.
Cry some more.
I say technically because there is an original heavy weapons guy in Team Fortress Classic, a Half-Life mod released in 1999. After Valve got a hold of it to make a sequel, not much really changed for the Heavy other than switching his crowbar for his hands and his assault cannon for his minigun, Sasha.
Oh my God, who touched Sasha? All right. Who touched my gun?
The Telltale team loved Team Fortress 2. They even had a team to compete in tournaments, the Telltale Seals. So, when it came to picking a merc to sit at the table, they had a tough choice. They thought the spy would fit into the inventory's smooth setting.
No. That would be your mother.
But they also thought that the engineer would have a nice, calm contrast to the other characters at the table.
I solve practical problems.
But they eventually landed on the Heavy, seeing as he's kind of the mascot in the game, being on the box and all. At the table, the Heavy plays very aggressively and will try to intimidate you out of a hand with him.
I promise, if you fight me, it will not last long. I kill quick, but not cleanly. I'm sorry.
His banter is mostly death threats, but he also provides a surprising amount of emotional contrast to the other characters at the table.
I pick up Sparrow and hear his last breath before digging him tiny grave.
That's not even a little bit funny, man.
No, it's not.
Poker Night lets us see the more knowledgeable and emotional side of the Heavy, something Valve doesn't really do in this Source game.
I have PhD in Russian literature.
He gets along pretty well with the other characters, but is always more suspicious of Tycho, thinking he's a blue spy.
You wear a blue sweater.
Yep, pretty much all the time. And I mean all the time. Ask the wife.
What are you?
Haven't we been over this? I know your head is the size of a grapefruit, but come on.
You are not Scout. Maybe very tricky blue spy. Maybe new class.
I can use a keyboard to sabotage your team, steal your intelligence, and mail order your sister to my goddamn doorstep all in an afternoon.
This is true?
Tycho Brahe, the final character at the table, is one of the main characters from the Penny Arcade web series. The biggest thing that Penny is known for is probably PAX, or the Penny Arcade Expo. PAX is a video game tabletop convention that is actually happening as I'm filming this. Pretty cool. Pax is also probably the entire reason he's in this game, because Telltale had a great relationship with Pax. While Tycho does come from webcomics, Poker Night wasn't Tycho's first game appearance. 2 years before Poker Night, they made the game Penny Arcade Adventures on the Rainslick Precipice of Darkness. But considering that the only voice actor in this game was the narrator,
Here's a door.
Tycho's appearance in Poker Night would be the first time he'd actually be voiced.
I fold.
Which was a really unique situation because Telltale had to pick the first person to voice a character that wasn't even their IP. People thought Tycho's original creator, Jerry Holkins, would be picked to voice him, but Telltale instead went for Andrew Chaikin. Chaikin had actually done some work for Telltale before, appearing in Bone, Sam & Max, and Puzzle Agent, and actually voicing Max for the first episode.
I'm still working on getting the rest of the darts from the police impound. I'm still working on getting the rest of the darts from the police impound.
At the table, Tycho's probably the smartest player. He only buys in if he has a good hand, meaning he'll most likely be the last player you have to bust out. And in terms of banter, let's just say he's the reason the game has a profanity filter.
Alright, this bet isn't around. It refuses to around. Around is simply not in its nature.
Poker Night: The Inventory is one of the most unique games Telltale ever put out, and one of the more loved games, selling over 600,000 units and having a sequel released 2 years later. But to me, Poker Night is one of my favorite game concepts of all time. It's not just a crossover in a traditional sense, but just characters hanging out after hours. And after Telltale's fall, no one has ever tried to do a concept like this. No one. Except for Skunkape. Skunkape is a game company that has been exclusively remastering delisted Telltale games, specifically the Sam & Max trilogy, and they just announced a remaster of Poker Night at the Inventory. Guess what we're playing today, bitch?